Hi, I'm Mike from 1A Auto. We've been selling auto parts for over 30 years.
What's up guys, I'm Andy from 1A Auto, and today I'm going to be showing you how to remove and reinstall door panels on this 2007 Mini Cooper S. If there's any parts you need for your vehicle, click the link in the description and head over to 1aauto.com. There's a little pin that goes into this trim piece. We have to take this pin out. So we'll use a trim removal tool. Just pop this off. You could use a flat blade screwdriver. Pull that pin off. And I'm going to pull this trim piece off. You can just grab it and try to pull it off. Sometimes you need a little trim tool to help. Use a little trim removal tool. Get in behind here. Pull that piece off. Now we're going to pull this little light off. Just use a flat blade screwdriver. Get underneath it. You can just disconnect the connector. Just pull that out like that. Set that aside. Next I'm going to use a door trim removal tool. I got to take all the push pins out along this outer edge of the door panel. Now this door panel is going to come out in two pieces right here, separate from the inner panel. Just slide it in here. Apply some pressure. Over here as well. We can slide it off the door lock rod and pull that panel out. Next we're going to remove this mirror switch. Just going to grab a trim tool, get underneath here, pop it out, slide it out. Then we're going to remove the electrical connectors. Just grab, pull it out. Next I'm going to take this trim piece out from around this speaker. I'm just going to use a trim tool, get in behind here, and also grab it with my fingers, pull it straight out, just like that. Next I'm going to pull this trim piece off right here on the outside of the door panel. Just grab it with your fingers and gently peel it up. I'm going to take this little plug off and just use a trim tool to remove this right there. Pull that off. There's one also over here. You can pull that off there. Next I'm going to raise the window. I'm going to put the key in the car, raise the window up a little bit. I want to get so that the bolt hole for the window assembly lines up with that hole so that I can actually take it out. Right about there. And I'll turn the key off. Next I'll use a T30 Torx socket and an extension and a ratchet. I'm going to take that bolt out. You want to, when you take these bolts out, you're going to want to hold the window. So make sure you do that, because you don't want the window to fall. It's kind of hard to see the bolts coming out, but it'd be good to have a friend hold the window while you do this as well. Then I'll do the same on this side. All right. And the bolt is like a caged bolt, so it's not going to come out. It's just going to loosen. And I'll grab the window. Oops. This one's going to be a little looser. Once you pull those bolts really loose, you should be able to slide the window right out and set it aside where it's not going to break. Disconnect this electrical connector right here. There's a little button here. Push down on that. Pull the connector out. Next, we're going to pull this connector out. I'm just going to use a flat blade screwdriver. Push up underneath here. It's going to release this little lever. Slide the lever. When you slide the lever, the connector will come out. I'm going to grab onto this armrest and just pull up. Some clips that hold it on. Pull that off. I'm going to remove these Torx bolts all around the perimeter of the door panel. I'm going to use a T30 socket, an extension, and a ratchet. We're going to remove this last of the 11 bolts. Pull that one out. I want to remove this weather stripping from this area of the door. I'll just take a trim tool, get underneath here. There's a little push right there that goes in to the door. That retains the weather strip on there. And then there's 2 push pins. So I'll take those 2 push pins out. Get underneath there. Peel them up. They can stay in the weather stripping, or if they come out, you can just set them aside. You just want this loose right here, like that. Let that hang, and then we'll do the same on this inboard side. I'm going to remove this weather strip over here. Just use the same trim tool. It's secured right there. Pull that out of our way. Just like that. There's 2 more retainers. We'll just leave that like that. There's some Torx bolts. There's 1, 2, and then there's 3 over here. So a total of 5. We're going to remove those with a T30 and a ratchet. When we pull this one off, there's going to be a little bracket. You can pull that bracket, set that aside. Next, we're going to take this nut off. It's a 10 millimeter. Use a 10 millimeter socket and a ratchet. And then there's this little indexer, kind of like a washer that just indexes the location for that stud. Pull that off. We should be able to grab the door panel, slide it out a little bit. On the inside of the panel, we're just going to grab this little bracket right here. It's plastic. We're just going to pry it up like that. It's got a little T thing that goes right in here. This little T-bar, is what attaches to the latch handle on the inside. And then there's little slots right there. So that comes out like that. We'll slide this out here. Pull that out of the way. And here's the inner door panel. Okay, now we're going to reinstall the door panel. Just going to slide it over here like this. All right, we're going to take this cable, we're going to feed it through here. And then through here. And get it into position. You want to make sure this little T on the end of the cable is just like that. This T was twisted on me earlier, I had to change it. And then that little T is going to line up with this little groove right there. And then this little slot is going to line up with that groove. So we'll just line this up. It's going to slide on first. And just push it straight on. There's a foam piece down here at the bottom. I'm going to make sure that's slid into the bottom of the door panel. And make sure the lock rod is positioned properly. So make sure your bolt holes all line up. They're there. And then this little stud is sticking out there. And everything looks good. Oh, there's a wiring harness right here. You want to pull these wires on the outside. Just go like that. And that looks like it's in position. I'll put my nut on the stud right there. I'll get these all these bolts in. So get those started, and we'll go to the other side. There's this bracket that we need to slide in underneath. And install this other Torx bolt. You may have to maneuver the door panel up and down a little bit to get it in position. And then these two little Torx screws go in on this bracket. Don't do that. All right, get those all started. Before I snug these down, I am going to get all these other bolts started for the door panel, just so that they line up with the holes. One right there, one right here. Just get these all started. Once I get those all started, then I can snug these all down. Just snug these down with my socket, extension, and ratchet. I forgot to put this little washer on, so I'm going to take this 10mm bolt off, just put that on. Luckily, this is indexed in the right location, so it's a good idea to put that on before you put the Torx bolts in. Now I'll tighten this nut down with my 10mm socket and ratchet, and hold that little washer indexer, and just snug it up. Now we're going to push the molding back into position. These little tabs go in the holes. Just push it. Sometimes you got to work it a little bit, back and forth. And same with the front. Lock that into position. And then we have these little pins on the side here. Right there. Grab the other pin. Push that pin in. It's all set. We can reinstall this trim piece. Just slide it from the bottom. Lock it into position. And connect the wiring to the motor. Lock that in place. And then this wire is going to connect right here. And then you're going to slide the lever down and lock it in place. Now we're going to install the window glass. Just slide this in. Once it's in position, and I should be able to start tightening those bolts. Go here. I'm going to push the window all the way to the back and down. So I'm going to snug these Torx bolts up, just finger tight. That one and this front one. Next, I'm gonna put the window up. Make sure your hands are clear when you do this. When it's all the way up, then I'm gonna just check to see if I have to adjust this at all. And if I have to, I can move the window back or forward a little bit. Make sure it lines up how I want it to line up. That looks pretty good right there. Turn the key off. Actually, I'm gonna roll the window down again. Right, take the key out. I'm gonna take my T30 extension and ratchet. I'm gonna snug these bolts up. Not too tight because it is glass. Snug it up. Here's another tip for if you're removing this to get the window to line up better. Before you take it apart, you can take a dry eraser marker. Just mark the window where it's located. That'll get you in the right vicinity of where to install the window. Make it a little bit easier. Install the outside window trim. Just line it up. Get that in position, just push it down. Install this trim over the speaker. Make sure you feed those wires through and push it on. Now we're going to connect the mirror switch. There's this black connector, goes on the bottom. White one goes on the top. Let's slide this into position like that. And then we'll push it down, lock it in place. We're going to install the outer door shell. We want to slide this wire through this hole down here. So that's going through there. Then install the lock rod right there. Just line the whole panel up. Make sure that wire goes through. It's all lined up. Then we're just going to push it on. Looks like it's all the way on. Yep. All right, to reinstall this light, I'm just going to plug this in here. Slide this up. Lock it in place. Now we're going to pop this trim back on. Just line it up. Lock it in place. We'll install this push pin underneath in this hole. Like that.
Thanks for watching. Visit us at oneauto.com for quality auto parts, fast and free shipping, and the best customer service in the industry.